Good morning, Australians. This video is specifically to explain to all those people who are asking why would we bother to go to the British monarchy, the Privy Council and the House of Lords. Why would we bother to lawfully rebel? And to you I say, and to everyone I say, that don't you think we should do everything that's humanly possible within our power to get rid of the corporations that sit in our parliaments and run our lives? I say yes. It's up to you whether you agree or not. But over the weekend, we've seen Liberals returned in Canberra and we've seen the Ardern government returned in New Zealand. People are just not listening. And for all of the, I suppose, patriotic gatherings and things against the unlawful lockdowns and lock-ins and lock-ups and all that sort of stuff, nothing is really changing. I always tell people that you have a small win, and then until you understand what's actually happening, that's called controlled opposition, and it happens in the parliament, but it also happens in the public because it's like a poker machine. They give you a little bit, and then they distract you from what you're really losing. And we had a week or so ago, we had the curfew lifted. They didn't really care about the curfew, but they lifted it because they made it look like we had a win because we had a court case coming up. And I say to you this, that how can you expect to win a case against a corporation that actually owns and runs the court corporation that you're going to take them to trial in? I don't tell people to stop doing what they're doing, but I do tell people that it's very important that you get involved in everything that is lawful and constitutional to get our lawful constitution fully restored. That's why we are lawfully rebelling, and it's not a hit and miss thing. I mean, we go through the Magna Carta. We've got a video on that to tell you that it's for forever, everywhere, and King John says that, and it also says in the dialogue of the Magna Carta that it is forever on all of the heirs, successors of the British throne. So to remove that, it's impossible. It's indissoluble, just like our lawful constitution is indissoluble. Now, people say to me, well, what's the big thing about the constitution? Why don't we just do our own thing? Well, the reason we need to fully restore our constitution is because it is indissoluble, and we need to deal with that. Otherwise, we're just as guilty of usurping power as what the corporations are that sit in our parliaments now and run our lives. So we get that document and we fully restore it, and then we go to the people in constitutional conventions and ask the people, what do you want? Because it is your right to tell to have a vote in what you want, the will of the people. And that's why we're gathering like-minded people in our Aussie Patriots role, because we need to know who you are. Are you prepared to stand up and be counted? And I'm not talking about going out and getting physical in the streets necessarily, but I am saying if it's your will to get rid of all these corporations, don't you think that it's a good idea to use the documentation that we've had since Federation in 1901 to get our lawful constitution back? Because let me tell you something, in our lawful constitution, you were the Commonwealth. You had a share of the Commonwealth. When you wanted to do something in your life, it was basically a part of the Commonwealth. So you went to the Commonwealth to get things done. Now we're under corporation rule, and everything that you do in your life is now attached to a contract or agreement. Now, whether that's implied consent or whether you've given your consent, it doesn't really matter to the corporations, because by participating with their corporations, that's implied consent. So we need to get rid of that. We need to get our lawful constitution back as the law of land, because at the moment we have a code law, and if you go to court for something, you're not going to a court, you're going to a star chamber, as they're generally referred to. They sit in a quorum and they dispute resolve. So you are in that court because you have defaulted in some way, shape or form on one of their contracts or agreements. So you're there for a dispute resolution. You're not there to be tried by a jury of your peers. You are there in a dispute resolution tribunal, if you like. So we need to get back to what we know is what the framers of our Constitution wanted us, and that is government at the will of the people. And we've let them get away with murder, literally, and we've let them get away with inching further and further into our lives and getting more and more control, every single election that we have, because we keep on electing these mongrels. Now, the thing is, you have to remember that 1973, the Whitlam government created the Australian Government Corporation. They then passed an act unlawfully called the Royal Styles and Titles Act, where they created the Queen of Australia. Now, what happened was they removed of the Commonwealth from everything. So our British monarch, who is a signatory to our lawful constitution, the British monarchy, the Privy Council and the House of Lords, it's not a person, it's an entity. So it doesn't matter who sits on the throne, it doesn't matter what they do. Our agreement, indissoluble obligation, is with the British monarchy, Privy Council and the House of Lords. So we are not relying on what one person says. Wayne Glew last year lodged Article 61 Magna Carta Lawful Rebellion in the UK, and it was accepted and placed into the system to be looked at. In the past, requests like that have been denied immediately by saying, we don't get involved in domestic politics or domestic political issues. That wasn't the case this time. It was accepted into the court, to the House of Lords, which is where the Privy Council sits, and it's been accepted into there to be looked at. That's a fantastic outcome, just to start with. But we need the people of Australia to get behind this, because it is a it is a constitutionally lawful action to get our lawful constitution back. Because the government that we have at the moment is not a government, it's a corporation, and we need to get rid of them. So what I'm saying is, in 1973, the Royal Styles and Titles Act created the Queen of Australia and created all the royal styles and titles that it needed to continue the farce that is the Australian Government Corporation. And you know what? From there, every single part of your life was chopped up into little bits and made into agreements and contracts. And you can see that in everything you do. Think about everything that you do in your life it's all a contract or an agreement with a corporation. There is no dealing with the Commonwealth anymore, because it's been set aside. And what Whitlam did was he took the Commonwealth of Australia and he stuck it into this Australian Government Corporation. And then what they do then is chopped it up into little bits, made agreements and contracts, implied consent or consent given, and then they give it back to us and we pay for it. So they've taken our Commonwealth from us, and now they're giving it back to us in little chunks, but they're charging us for us as well. That's not and that's not to mention all the things that they've done other than that, like sell off our resources for practically nothing. We always say to the lowest bidder, because obviously the people that have bought our resources or the use of our resources are making billions and billions of dollars and paying no tax. So we're not getting any benefit out of anything anymore. So we are the cash cow of the Australian Government Corporation. Because they've got all the assets, they've taken over all the assets, and they're charging us to use them. But we can't change them unless we get their permission. And remember the poker machine analogy. They give you a little bit to make you feel comfortable, to distract you from what you're really losing. So I implore everyone, and it's not about me and it's not about you personally, it's about the whole of Australia, because you know what? The people who are now working to get this done are getting older, me included. Wayne Glew, Dick Yardley, Richard Gunter, Brian Shaw, lots and lots of guys, Larry Hannigan. There's a lot of people out there that are busting their chops trying to get things done, but you're not listening, and we need you to listen, and we need you to enrol with our Aussie Patriots role, so we can show the UK Privy Council and House of Lords that we do have the commitment and the will of the Australian people to fully restore our lawful constitution and get all the corporations that pose as our government and our rulers out of our parliaments forever. That's what we want to do, and that's what we're asking you to do. Now, the links will be in this in this video, and please subscribe to the channel, not to me, to the channel, so that we can give you more information as we go forward, so that we can give you more education of our lawful constitution and why we need it restored, and how we can change it to suit ourselves after we get it restored. And we might not even use it as it is in its present form anymore. We might decide to do something completely different, but it'll be our decision, not the decision of political parties or, our Australian government corporations. No, nothing to do with them. It's the people, the will of the people. So that's all I got for you today. I just wanted to make sure that people understand why. And that's why. And if you need more information, we've got videos on just about everything, and there's more videos coming. There's plenty to read, but we know people don't like to read these days. They like to watch something. So that's why we're producing these videos. One of the good things that's happened to us recently, which I'm really, really chuffed about, is David and Eags has joined us to help us out. And hopefully we'll have contact soon from Fenos, who is another great Victorian advocate for constitutionally lawful actions instead of the crap that we go on with at the moment. Today we had another 2 cases in Victoria, and it's Daniel Andrews is coming to us today to tell us he's going to give us the poker machine treatment. He's going to give us a little bit to distract us from what we're losing. But that's okay, as long as we're uniting in the background and as long as we're getting things done in the background, because his days are numbered. And can I tell you something, Aussie Patriots, we're going to get our country back, but we need you. So please enroll, please subscribe, please join us and help us get our our Commonwealth of Australia lawful constitution of 1901 fully restored. Thank you very much. There's the red duster, the de jure flag of the people. Get one if you can, and fly it proudly. Advance Australia Fair. And it's nothing to do with the anthem. It's Advance Australia Fair for all Australians. That's why we're a Commonwealth. See ya.